Howdy champs, my name is Mohit and people. Today I'm going to talk about two very important concepts in CSS of inheritance and precedence. Right. What do you think the word inheritance actually means? You know, getting it, acquiring it from your ancestors, from your parents, and passing it on to your children, to grandchildren, sub-children, etc. I think things will become much more clear if I show you some examples. So let's start. I'm using Bluefish version 2.2.4. It's an open source software, people, in a free environment. Linux, I'm using Linux Mint version 15, right? Again, open source. So let's start and check out some examples to understand these two concepts clearly. Okay, making sure that I'm in the standard tab, I'm going to click out here, and I'm going to make sure that DTD, or the doc type declaration, is HTML5. You could have chosen a different doc type declaration too, that's okay. Title, so inheritance and precedence, right? I don't want to use any meta, at least not for this example, so let me just remove. I want to use an external style sheet. Yes, I'm going to give it a name, ext.css, as well as create an empty style area to embed some styles, create internal styles too. I don't want any script. I'm not going to use any JavaScript. Okay, and so I'm actually done. I can say okay. Let's save the file up. Say file and a save, and I'm going to put it on the desktop in my local site folder. Okay, and I'm going to call it index.html. Right, .html extension, and let's save the file up. Very cool. Okay, first things first. Let's take up a browser preview. I can just go out here. Right, there you are. There's absolutely nothing on the page, so there won't be any preview as such. Let me just minimize it and keep it ready for the next time. Right. Okay, let me go inside the opening and the closing body tags and create a tag rule for the body. Okay, this is how you'll actually create it, and I'm going to say background color. How about corn silk? Alrighty. Okay, let's save the file up. Let's bring up the browser. Let's refresh, reload, and you can actually see the color corn silk all over. Right. Now, let me get inside the body of the document, insert a div, opening closing div tags, and inside the opening div tag, let me have an ID going of wrapper. The only div that we have inside the body of the document, wrapper. Okay, WRAEEPR, cool. Okay, let's define wrapper as well. So that's ID wrapper, WRAPPER, space, define the style, right? How about width of 400 px, a height of 400, sorry, I think the num block is actually not working. Now it should. 400 px, height of, yep, of 400 px as well. Let's save the document up. Okay, as well as have some border going, people. So solid 2px. This should be a semicolon out here. Borders 2px. How about red? Okay, very cool. Let's save the document up and bring up the browser. Let's reload. People, now we have inside the body one wrapper. Now, very clearly, the background color has cascaded down to the child element, which is actually the div. Okay, if this div wrapper had an inner div too, very clearly the background color would have cascaded down too. So what's happening out here? Inheritance. The background color that was attached to the body of the document, loosely speaking, it is the outermost envelope or the outermost element. And once you apply a property to that, it's cascading downwards towards the child element. So towards the first child, that is the direct child, or if you have sub children, so the granddaddy is passing on the properties down, all of them. are going downwards. Very, very cool. Which means that yes, indeed, background color cascades down. How about font size, font weight, font style? All of them cascade down too. Let's look at an example. So let's start with font family. Font family, let's say of Arial. Okay. A font size, how about 200%? Okay. And a font style of, let's say, italic, and a font weight of, let's say, bold. Cool. Okay, now ideally, if there was some text inside the opening and the closing div tags, should acquire the font family, font size, font style, and font weight. Mind you people, not all properties do get passed on. Borders never get passed on, and we'll have a look at that. So let's say test out here. Okay, let's save the document up. Let's bring up the browser. Let's check the truth out. Very clearly, the font is Arial, it's italic, it's bold, and it's at 200%. I think the 100% is 16 pixels. This looks like, obviously, double the size. Right. Now, I very clearly said that not all properties get passed on like borders. Let's do one thing. Let's apply a border to the wrapper. So, in fact, a border is already applied to the wrapper. Obviously, it was not passed down to the text. If I encapsulate the text, with /p out here and an opening p tag out here. Okay. Right. And if I save it up and bring the browser up, let's reload people. Quite clearly, the paragraph did not, acquire the border. Right. So all properties don't get passed on. It didn't get, it didn't go down, didn't cascade down from the wrapper to the paragraph. But there's a way you can actually do it. I'm going to show you that way too. For example, if I were to go out here and define a rule or define a style for the paragraph like so. Okay, and I am going to say border. I'm going to force the border now. So border colon and inherit. Use the word inherit, people. That's going to force the border onto the paragraph from the parent element, which is actually the wrapper. So the border, which is out here in line number 20, is going to be acquired by the paragraph. Right? So the inherit keyword, people, or the inherit value will force the the properties that do not get passed on, like borders and paddings and width and height. They will be forced onto that element. Let's test the truth out. Let's bring up the browser. Let's refresh, reload, and quite clearly, people, you can see that that's exactly what has happened. Very cool. Let's say let's test out word spacing, letter spacing. Now these values too get passed on, so let's apply it to the body. Okay, so word spacing, how about 5px, and letter spacing, 5px. Alright, let's save the file up, and this should pass on from the body to the wrapper and then to the paragraph, right? So it's going down, so to the child, then child of child, etc. Let's refresh and check it out. Quite clearly you can see there's the space between the words and the letters has actually gone up. Right, so most of the the properties attached to the text actually get passed down, but padding and width and height and margins don't actually get passed on. But as I said, there's a way to actually do that. Let's take an example. I'm going to go out here, okay, and I'm going to say margin top, or let's say margin left, and let's say 20px. Okay, let's save the file up. Let's bring up the browser. Let's see what happened. Reload. Okay. Now, yes, the body actually shifted. Now, I would want this margin left to be passed on to the paragraph. Ripple down, cascade down. And how do I actually do that? I'm going to go out here and I'm going to say margin left and then inherit. I'm gonna copy it from here. I'm gonna paste it out here and actually I would want this to be here rather than anywhere else. Okay, right, let's save the document up and okay, let's bring up the browser. Let's test. Okay, quite clearly people, as you can see out here, not only did the margin left get applied to the wrapper, it got passed on to the paragraph as well, so it's cascaded down. So just using the inherit, the keyword here and here, applied to the border and applied to the margin left, I have forced the properties that do not get passed on to the children and the grandchildren and so on and so forth. You can just force it this way, right? So I mean, you can just just experiment with different properties, but by more or less properties like borders and width and height and padding and margins do not get passed down, but colors, which is font color, background colors, font family, font size, font style, font weight, word spacing, letter spacing, they all ripple down from the parent element to the child element. Okay, very cool. Now that's as far as inheritance is concerned. So inheritance actually works for you. Only those properties which actually help you, aid or hasten or fasten, or quicken your web development actually get passed down. Those that can actually become an obstacle do not get passed down. All right, that's some common sense that the editors actually use. This is the way it actually works. Okay, so yeah, so that's inheritance for you. How properties get acquired by the children element from the ancestors. Right. What is precedence? Precedence is importance or priority. What if there's an external style sheet and an internal style sheet both acting on the same element, right? What happens then? So that's which rule is then given more importance or priority, and which actually really acts and which is left in the cold. That is called precedence. And let's have a look up now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an external style sheet. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to click here. In fact, even before that, okay, we already have a link tag out here. Cool. I just need to create an external style sheet file. So file, new, right? Save it up first. So let's say file and a save, and give it a name ext.css. It's going inside the local site folder. That's cool, right? And in this ext.css, in fact, a wrong name given. Save again. Save as. This ext.css, I beg your pardon. It's dot out here. Dot. Save it up. Right. I don't need this file. That was a mistake. Delete. Delete. ext.css. Okay. I'm going to make a rule for the body of the document. So I'm going to start like this. So the body, and yep. And this time I'm going to give it a color of, let's say, about a background color, about blanked almond. Okay, so let's save it up. And now what's happening out here is the body is acquiring the background color from an external style sheet and an internal style sheet too. Internal embedded styles, as you can very clearly see out here. So this link tag is actually linking up to the external style sheet. These opening closing style tags are linking up to the internal style sheet. So is it going to acquire the color colon silk, or is it going to acquire the color blanked element. So to test the truth out, let's bring the browser up, let's reload, and people, it's going to acquire the rules coming from the internal style sheet, simply because I'll give you the reason for that. This is precedence, people. The internal style sheet has taken precedence over the external style sheet. Why did that actually happen? I'm going to explain it to you. First of all, you see the opening closing body tags, which are, this is in line number 32, we have the opening body tag is closer to the internal style sheet, or the opening closing style tags, rather than to the link tag. So whichever style or rule is actually closer, this is actually closer, not the link tag. This link tag is going to fetch the blanked element body background color, but this rule occurs afterwards. So whichever rule occurs afterwards or is actually closer to the body of the document is going to take precedence. It's going to override. It's going to win, right? So that's precedence. It's going to take precedence. So since it's closer, it's going to take precedence. But what if I were to move this link tag from here and push it below the the linked the style tags out here? So if I were to go down after the style tag, and I'm going to push it out here, I'm going to save it, I'm going to go out here, reload, you can clearly see that the color has changed from corn silk to blanked element. That's simply because now the priority or the importance was given to the rule which was closest to the body tags, and which was line number 31 is closer to 33, right? The body tags are actually closer to this and not the opening closing style tags. So the rule which is the closest or occurs later, not which doesn't come early but comes in towards the end, or later, appears later, is going to take the precedence, right? So that's how precedence actually works, priority actually works. So very clearly, if I were to attach some inline style to the body using these style tags like so, and say background color dash color, and how about papaya whip? Okay, so background color papaya whip should take precedence because this is the closest to the body tags. In fact, it is inside the body tag itself. So let's refresh and check the truth out. People, the color papaya whip is very close to the way blanked element actually appears. Let me just change the color so we can be absolutely sure. Let me change it to wheat. Right, let's save it up, reload. Yep, in fact all these colors are so very close to each other. How about I want to make a drastic change out here, chocolate. Right, 147 color names, people, that you can actually use. Yep, chocolate. Right, so you see, this is how precedence works. The rule that is closest to that tag is going to take precedence. The rule that actually appears later or appears later. Okay, in fact, if I were to put a comma out here, semicolon out here, just copy this bit, where it says the background color is so and so. If I were to just say Control C out here, come out here and push in the same color, but change the color later on. How about ghost white? Right, save it up, test the truth out, reload. That's ghost white, very close to the way white actually appears, right? So this appeared in the end, this rule appeared in the end and has taken precedence. This is how precedence actually works, people. Okay, there are so many other factors too that control it, but largely speaking, this example should suffice. So people, I hope you found this tutorial quite informative. You'll sub and you'll keep coming back for more and more tutorials from me. You have a good day. Bye bye. Peace.